Hello, everyone, and welcome to the do's and don'ts of using generative AI in research. My name is Meg Markarian, and this video is in collaboration with the University Writing Center, the IU Indianapolis Graduate School, and I had some help from the University Library. Shout out Dr. Piper. So let's get started. We're going to talk about why do researchers use generative AI. Then we're going to talk about things to be aware of. We'll go to the do's and don'ts. And then we'll talk about IU Indianapolis's generative AI resources. We'll talk some more about resources, and then I'll offer you some closing information. So why do researchers use generative AI? So some researchers use it to assist in organizing large sets of quantitative data. Some of them use it to help edit multi-step drafts. Some researchers use generative AI to support the development of research questions. Some use it to help contain citations and find related sources. But you should be aware of the following when using generative AI. You should be aware of data security and ethical considerations. At IU Indianapolis, you have access to a few generative AI resources. You should always use your IU Indianapolis login information and never use personal login information when inputting data from any research that you're conducting. You should also be aware of the dangers of AI. One of those dangers is letting the machine run the show. AI is hallucinatory, and it always needs human intervention in order to be effective. And this brings me to the hallucinations and incorrect information. Bear in mind that generative AI is only pulling from information it finds. If the information it finds is incorrect, it will give you incorrect information. You also should not over-rely on generative AI for editing and revising. You need to know what you're writing. At the end of the day, you are the one responsible for what you are saying. So what should you do? You should always use your IU login and credentials. You should always double check that your sources are real and properly attributed. And you should always read generated text aloud. At the University Writing Center, we always read aloud whatever draft a writer brings into the center. The reason for that is you might catch things that you wouldn't have caught had you read it silently to yourself. The same is true for generative AI. You should always read generated text aloud if you plan on quoting it in your research. You should also consider your role in how generative AI impacts the environment and disenfranchised communities. Over-reliance on generative AI creates a greater demand on AI data centers. AI data centers are going up in, frankly, communities that are already disenfranchised. You should consider your role in this and let that dictate whether or not you use AI. You should always disclose generative AI use in any and all public-facing documents. So if you plan on publishing, if you plan on turning this in for a grade, you should always disclose your generative AI use. You should not use identifiable information if you're uploading data. And you should not leave out the human. It means you shouldn't allow generative AI to run rampant without your own intervention. You should not use generative AI without intention and an end goal. Unintentional generative AI use is how we get an over-reliance on the technology. And you should not forget to utilize existing IU Indianapolis resources. This takes me to what resources IU Indy offers. So on the University Library website, they have a generative AI LibGuide. This is your one-stop shop for intentional, productive Gen AI use in research. Follow these steps to access this resource. Go to iu.libguides.com/AI research. Start at the Home tab to familiarize yourself right here. And then as you familiarize yourself with the resource in the overview, including the how to use this tutorial, move on to the other tabs on the left side of the screen. All links are located in the description box below. Additionally, you can access more generative AI resources on the University Information Technology Services page. To access this resource, go to uits.iu.edu/AI/overview. Familiarize yourself with the overview of generative AI. Then you can move on to other linked information within this source. Thank you so much for watching. See the description for more resources. If you need more help with generative AI uses, please consider visiting the University Writing Center. Stop by for a walk-in appointment or schedule online at iuindy.mywconline.com. Sign in using your IU credentials.